Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
This is why you need to be listening to this channel, because this is what we've been saying. And now we've got somebody in a position of authority, someone who absolutely knows what is going on, saying the same thing about the WNBA. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. We got that all out of the way. Now let's get into this. We have David Sampson talking about the WNBA and the strike, possible lockout, whatever you want to call it. And he has some very interesting things to say that we've been talking about on this channel already as well, with regards to what the players are doing, why they are doing it, and what is going to happen next. Now, David Sampson, for those of you who don't know, I won't go through this long bio, but he very much knows what he's talking about. He's a very, very smart businessman. He's been, I believe, in the front office, I think, of the Marlins for like the baseball team for like 15, 16 years. I mean, this is a guy who knows what he's talking about when you get into things like CBA negotiations and salaries and business expenses and what the owners are looking at in terms of the numbers, which are the types of things that no one has been talking about except a few of us on YouTube. Shout out Ben Daniels, shout out Rhodes of Black and White Sports 2, who have been trying to ease people into the reality of the WNBA players and their moment nonsense and what the owners think of that. So let's dig into this a little bit. We have I've got a couple clips that I want to play for you that I want to talk about that are really important to listen to. And there's going to be one phrase that David uses, though. He's going to shock, but I think it's also reality, and it's something the players need to understand. Let's dig into this. Now, what he's going to talk about here, we're going to get in a little to the reality of the revenue share and what the players have been asking for.
Lockout or strike, so then it can go to the next stage of these negotiations. But the biggest misunderstanding here is that the players in the WNBA want to have a pegged revenue number the way they have it in the NBA. And Adam Silver is saying no, because the NBA owners are saying no, because that's not taking into account all of the money that the WNBA owners need to profit and take off the table to pay down debt that has been accruing over the decades of losses. So that is why they're not having a meeting of the minds on any percentage, which is why the NBA is offering minimum salaries increasing like up to $1 million, because then you can absolutely chart and express what your expenses will be and then what your profits will be.
Very, very important to understand that. If you heard what he said about the money that has been lost over the years, and a lot of people, I know there's people out there, and I will get them in the comments because we've got a couple that follow this channel that like to go on this long diatribe about how they know what every single penny has been invested in the WNBA and that they're actually making money and have been for years and blah, blah, woof, woof. But no, they haven't. And the the owners, now look, business owners, successful business owners, they don't always do everything right. Sometimes they cave to the moment. Speaking of the moment, we can think of, companies like Bud Light and Disney and Nike and all these companies that get into certain things because they think it's going to play and it's not the best business decision. But in general, they got to where they are because they know what they're doing and they're not going to give it away. They understand their numbers. They understand how much they've invested. They understand what the risks are going forward and the revenue they need to generate in order to turn a profit. And for those of you who want to scream about that, yes, you will get people who have so much money, someone like Bill Gates or Elon Musk, or, they could go and buy a sports team just for, the social currency of it all and not be too worried about whether or not it is losing money, at least for a while. But for the most part, these are business owners. They're not going to just give away money. It doesn't work that way. The WNBA is not big enough and not profitable enough for them to just say, here, we're going to split revenue with you. If you're already losing money, now you're losing even more money. This is why you will see things like the housing issue and so forth, because if the league is going to give away, they're going to 4x, 5x salaries, they're going to increase to a degree revenue share, things have to come off the table because This is what I mean. The WNBA not big enough with the revenue and not producing enough profit. So they're going to say, okay, we're going to give you a percentage of revenue, but we have to take away these other things because those are just flat out expenses for us, like housing, right? So why are we going to give you a percentage of money that is an expense? That's not generating a profit. But anyway, we've got some other things we want to talk about. And here is the absolute bombshell. So we've got to listen to this.
If the players are not going to move on a revenue split versus derive revenue share off of a fixed number, what is your opinion on what happens?
Maybe the end of the WNBA. The players will move. There's not going to be a fixed number. It doesn't make sense to me for the WNBA to demand that, for the players to demand that right now. I understand. The biggest thing they did wrong, they said this is their moment. And so they've put a lot of pressure on themselves to make huge changes in the collective bargaining agreement because this is their moment. What you try to do is make incremental benefits through the course of multiple agreements.
Before we get further on, did you hear what he said at the beginning? We'll get to that. The problem with what the players have been doing and what the fans of the players and of the WNBA have been getting into as well, what the media has been getting into, and again, the players have been really counting on the media to carry their water, is their negotiations have been exactly what he's saying. It's our moment. It's our moment. They're feeling themselves, even though it's all been about Caitlin Clark. This is what they do. This is what narcissists do. They make it about themselves. So they're feeling it. This is our moment. We're going to get everything. Remember what I said about the veterans and the ones leading the negotiations, not only just their conflict of interest, but they're willing to risk a strike. They're willing to risk a lockout because they know their time is over. They're done. People are moving on from them and they want to get everything that they can get before they are out of the league. So they're saying, screw the actual future of the WNBA, screw leaving it in a better place, screw the players that are coming up behind us. We want to get all of ours. And which is, if you listen to what he said, it's all about incremental wins. You can't go from 0 to 100 in one CBA. It doesn't work that way. The owners aren't going to allow it. And you are wrecking the future of the league. But again, they're narcissists. They do not care. They want to get theirs because they know. I shouldn't say they know, but the hope is, right? Really, what we all want is for the basketball to keep getting better and for the league to grow and to eventually at some point that, 2.2 billion over 11 years for a media rights deal becomes 2.2 billion per year. But these players don't want to see players 15 years from now coming into the league as rookies and getting, a 4-year, $8.7 million contract when they got a 4-year, $300,000 contract. And that is a big part of what is ruining this league.
And so I don't think they should have gone for everything they're going for right now because they put themselves in a corner where they feel like they have to get it or it's like a major
And nobody puts baby in a corner.
loss.
What did you say on the front end of this?
He said the end of the WNBA.
What are you saying is going to happen if...
let's be clear, Dan. People are not talking about this enough. We talked about it on the sporting class.
We talked about it. We keep talking about it. I have said it multiple times. Rhodes at Black and White Sports has said it. Ben at BDP has said it. WNBA players, again, because of their own narcissism and wanting to get what they want and making this negotiation all about their feels and unicorns coming out their butt, are risking the future of the league.
And obviously, John Skipper's involvement in Unrivaled, but you also have talked about what Project B is. You understand there are players who are getting paid multi-millions of dollars to go play in another league in another country. This is the moment. If you had any ability to invest and you wanted to start a league to compete with the WNBA, this is the time. Every player is a free agent. All of them want money and need money. If you have a well-capitalized and well-funded business, the way Project B may be, that could be the end of the WNBA. And I promise you that Adam Silver is thinking about that, and the players are thinking about that.
How real is that? How real is what you're saying? How real is it to be possible, the idea that because you're meeting a moment where profound asks are being made of a business by a group that has never been stronger than it is right now about asking for money in a culture where it will be very unpopular if the WNBA does what you're saying. How probable is that?
By the way, did you hear what he said? That's what I've been saying. That is what the league, the players, when I say the league in this case, I mean the players have been banking on is the media carrying their water because the culture, again, the people not paying attention, not understanding all these numbers and what the revenue and what everything generates and the expenses and all that, they're all in their feels too. Women, equality, pay them what they deserve and all of that nonsense. That's what the players are counting on. But I don't think there's enough of that right now. Maybe 5, 10 years ago. But I think people are seeing a lot of this stuff, a lot of this victimhood stuff in general is being used for people to get things they do not deserve.
It'll be unpopular if the WNBA folds. Unpopular to who? To the large majority of the. I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. If what you're saying that there have been expansion fees paid and they're trying to expand and they've got broadcast deals that were totally pinned to the NBA deals, is that what you mean by unpopular? What I'm telling you is that if the players get too greedy, it will be the end of the WNBA, that's not the end of the world for them because they have options.
I don't hear anyone saying, though, that we're on the precipice of it sort of collapsing and needing to reinvent itself. I haven't heard that anywhere.
Well, maybe Dan, not to pat myself on the back for the third time, but maybe you should be listening to my channel because I have been saying it all along when this whole thing came up, when they opted out of the CBA. I talked about the risk of this league folding if the players don't get it together and if they don't stop being delusional about what they're owed, about what they deserve. They risk the future of the league. I keep saying it. I've been saying it. Everybody's got to start paying attention to this channel. All of you are really smart. Shout out 19.
It's just because people are not actually paying attention to what's real about this negotiation because they believe that this is their moment because of all the great press around Caitlin Clark and the excitement of the WNBA. And I am not in any way impugning the right of players to make as much money as they can, because if you can go overseas, if you can go to Unrivaled, if you can go make a living and it's a better living, go make it. It's like any business. If you can make more money at the Ringer, people are going to go.
Anyway, we're going to leave it there. He gets into some other stuff. That's a joke about the Ringer, and they all called him on it. But did you all hear hear what he said? He made it very clear there at that last bit about it being about Caitlin Clark, right? And that's the fundamental misunderstanding. So here's my thing, and I agree with him as well. Look, get what you can get. I get it. But what the league has offered in terms of salary increases and what they're doing with revenue, the players really think about it. Before Caitlin Clark came, they would have been so they wouldn't have believed that this is something that they could get. And now they're saying no to it and excuse me, and asking for absolutely unreasonable numbers tied to revenue. They may very well shut down the WNBA, but no one's going to watch Unrivaled either. You know, his point, I mean, look, who cares? Last thing I'll leave you with to that point, as Caitlin Clark fans, most of y'all, if Caitlin Clark goes and plays in another league and you can watch the games, because this is, you'll be able to at point somewhere, even if it's a Project B over in Saudi, whether it's some streaming service, Caitlin Clark goes and plays elsewhere. Do you care if the WNBA ceases to exist? I'm going to bet most people don't. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I keep telling y'all, come on, players, figure it out. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you later.